it's not even the end of 2024, and there is already VTuber agency dissolving left and right. Hello there, how's it there? I'm Ame Gakita there. So obviously today we are going to talk about few more VTuber agency, actually more to be exact, two of them. But when I kind of like do a little bit of chat, one of the situation is right, it got quite a few people talking about it. Although it's sad to see the so-called dissolve of the company, it's actually more so that it got quite a few people talking about the issue where the talents have to purchase their own IP instead of the company giving it to them. As well as another company kind of like dissolve and say that hey, we are still here actually along the line. So the two companies we are going to talk is AN Project as well as Bond Live EN. So anyone who's not sure about Bond Live EN as well as AN Project, they are an so-called the small VTuber agency, but even so I will actually put out Bond as kind of like mid-side because Bond also have other stuff that they are concentrating on, like the translation, teaching people about Japanese culture and all these things. So Bond do have another side of stuff they do. It's just that they do have the VTuber so-called branch along the line. And for not EN, is AN, sorry. So for AN project itself, right, apparently that during these 2 years they're going to, like before the end of 2024, they're just gonna end within next month of the time of this recording or this video, that they are going to cease all their operation, as well as that those talent who wish to continue on as an indie VTuber, they can continue to do so, and they will be kind of like, some will be under new persona, some will actually bought over their IP. So it kind of like depends on which talent bought their own IP, because considering you have, if you restart, you kind of like have to build everything from scratch. So maybe some of the talent just don't feel that is right for them. So apparently there's quite a few of them, like Milin-san or Sky-san, who decided to just say that they're gonna just purchase the IP. And this is the part where it kind of get quite a few people talking about it in like not a good way, because there are actually quite a few people say that how crazy it is for a company to go under and have to have their own talents, instead of like giving the IP to them in good faith. They decided to say, hey, you're gonna have your IP, purchase it yourself along the line. So it really kind of like seem f up to in how some people would view. But when considering that the company is really like in the way go under, and not in the like they have to like going to have refund some of the merchandise, they have to like sell a lot of merchandise. So I don't think the IP purchase will actually kind of like say that hey, we're gonna give you the IP along the line. It seems like they are just trying to like hand over the IP instead of like giving it for free. They kind of like ensure that it's under a translation, a transaction along the line, so that when you kind of like give it to prove that there is a ownership of it, instead of that passing it over, they kind of like saying that we're selling it over. So maybe that's what they were thinking. I'm not sure how people will go about it, because to me I do think I do believe that it seems very effort when you kind of like having this sort of thing happening where people will still gonna talk about it. But the one thing is, right, for the donation, everything, it seems like those money apparently will still be the viewer. I'm not sure how much will they still give to their talents, considering that after that they're gonna like cease all operation. So if they still gonna manage to give some share to the talents, then that would be great. But if not, even if people criticize in the future, the company is already down forever, so we do not know what will happen after that. So that will be like the only thing we will be not be able to know for sure. Hopefully that in future we'll get to know what will happen afterwards. But so far the only thing I do know is that the talent itself is that as long as they continue to be VTuber, or maybe some of them under new persona, then if they have a very strong loyal supporter or fan or follower, you want, whatever you want to call them, then they will be going after them in a way. But those who continue as a new persona is very hard to know, because it's like sometimes when you kind of like got a new persona, it's really hard for people to know who you are unless there's a few people who help to spread the word. So that's the only issue that we might have to see how it go, because in a way it's definitely the wait and see approach. But again, the having to sell the IP to the talent itself, it does warn quite a few people mad. I can see their point, considering that it's like, dude, your company is already gone over. The IP is not going to be with you guys. Just give it to the talent, for God's sake. But then again, like I mentioned, just giving it away might consider not right in terms of transaction along the line. If you kind of like sell it to them, maybe it's kind of like to prove that this is that being given, like kind of like given, but sold it, so that it's a kind of like a record of transaction. At least that's what I think. But again, how much they sell the IP to them, it's very hard to know. Maybe when the talents kind of talk about it, people actually share the information, then we'll know. But when it comes to like another company, Born Live, although they kind of like say that the dissolution, dissolving it, the VTuber UT division as well as the reality division, they aren't really like gonna stop being called VTuber agency. They are still continue being called a VTuber agency in the most unexpected way. So they still alive, but they're just saying like we unalive one of our part and then we alive one and a new part. So anyone who do know very well that I did talk about another app that I tend to use, a streaming app, and I actually talk about this right before my this video, I believe it's this video, where I talk about my new model change. So in that video, I actually introduce again and again every time when I talk about it, is the reality app. And the reality app is a app that people tend to use where they can customize their own model and live stream with it. So in case anyone want to know, that for Born Live, they decided to like say that they're gonna dissolve that division, and they do have a division for that. I talked to a few of them, in kind of like interact with them, as well as they're gonna dissolve the YouTube one. The one that they decided to dissolve the YouTube one, that actually kind of like got me questioning, because considering that even if their YouTube is not growing as much as they want, it is still growing, and often more than not, you do want to like invest in that a little bit more and then see how it go. But for them to decide to just outright cancel away the YouTube division as well as the reality division, it kind of like got me really questioning a lot. More so that when they decided to go into another app, which is the Rian. Rian app itself, right, is another like similar to reality, but a total new app that is different from reality. So what is Rian? It's actually more so that if I talk about reality being a 3D version, Rian is actually basically a 2D version. So some people call it Rian. Everyone have their own version, but Rian, the app itself, right, is actually an app that kind of like got quite a lot of people understanding that it is another streaming app. But what a lot of people do not understand is that the app do not provide you the persona, the avatar itself. So you have to draw, or you have to provide a art for it. So in order to like live stream with it, all you need to do is provide using a PNG file to the app, and it would automatically do a rigging for you. The only issue is that how much rigging it will do for you will depends on the app itself. But often more than not, I used the app before, and the one thing you have to do is you have to provide a drawing. If you can't provide an avatar itself, it will not be able to read, and it's just kind of like a free rigging app for people who can draw themselves. And when it comes to drawing, people can just kind of like just draw something simple, and then the app will just do rigging for you, and you just use it as. So there are some people who actually use, like, you don't need to like draw like in layers or whatever. You just draw, provide it, and then you end up having the like able to go with it. So I'm thinking that the reason why they kind of like drop the YouTube division might be because if they can just get their own artist to stay, people to draw the artwork, and then use the app itself to start streaming, then I think there is probably no reason for them to stop using YouTube, because they can kind of like use the app itself as the base to build back YouTube division. But for them to kind of like dissolve both YouTube and reality, I mean reality in a way I can understand, because reality itself is really kind of like dead end already. I'm using the app, it is considered like not so active anymore. Still got people using it, but not a lot of people entering in what I think. But again, at the end of the day, the one that got me really thinking is like they kind of like dissolve the YouTube division and then add in a new one. How they even like talk about like back then having an audition for it, and it's actually kind of amazing though, because I did actually apply to this one like back in when I was in Japan like 2-3 years ago. It was specific for this one. But it actually got me really wondering, like, is it because they want to have an EN version, that's why they going with it? But I don't know. I mean, like, when I check out their website, they really got quite a few people already. So, maybe they just want to really get the EN version going with it. So maybe that is what they are looking for. But at the end of the day, when they kind of like say put up the black and white paper, it got quite a lot of people talking about it, considering that some people are not very happy. Like one is dissolving, but it's like Bond Life EN is not like dissolving, you know. It's like we dissolve this part, but we still have other part. And moreover is that they also in regard to the talents, right? Some is still apparently still going to continue streaming, but some they didn't really kind of like highlight about the YouTube division. Is like, are they still gonna get their IP back, or do they get to keep their IP? Because if they kind of like say that they are going to continue, they can like current member who wish to do so will continue the activities as content creator after this dissolution, but it does not highlight will they get to keep their IP at all. So is that's the only issue that is they are trying to be very 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 about. But I mean, like, these two so far really should be criticism, because they kind of like, one is dissolving but not dissolving, and one is basically dissolving, but at the same time, like, we are trying to help everyone to get their merchandise, but then our talents still need to pay for their IP along the line. So that's kind of like got a little bit of me talking about, because I do need to highlight that the issue on having to sell your IP to your talents. I mean, like, didn't they work hard for you guys? But then again, when you kind of like look at both situation, right, both the EN, both Bond Life EN as well as AN, in a way, I can see that a lot of people maybe just going with the idea, talking about, hey, maybe it's the end of VTuber Agency. I know you guys may be thinking that I will be ending my random chat like this, but again, this is speculation. From what I do think about this situation is that all you need to do is just check out a little bit of digging, and you definitely will be like understanding that like there is still the refill evergreen situation that happened at Project AN, as well as the Bond Live EN, like I mentioned, that is not without controversy. Like they got their own fair share of situation, and often more than not for this kind of so-called small VTuber agency, every controversy always tend to be a bad problem. So when you kind of look into those kind of situation, I won't even be surprised that if they decide to dissolve the YouTube division, is because it may be considered in their eyes black marked or stained, if you will. So when you kind of like got a lot of like controversy on that division itself, you want to like stay away from it. So sadly, but this is how it seems to me, that they are trying to like remove the black stain from their history along the line, because like Bond Live EN as well as AN, in a way they got something happen to them. And even though it's like VTuber agency is kind of like growing, it's kind of like a growing market, but it's the only issue is that either you go big or you go home, and this kind of company always tend to be the one to be on the list of going home. More so is that especially most when you have really like have a black stain where people will remember that okay, this company have a black stain, we're gonna stay away from it. And even if people say that, oh hey, people are gonna support the remaining talents, but we have a passerby along the line who come in and say that, hey, there is a few talent that seem interesting, but then someone said, hey, this company got something that happened, there's controversy on this company along the line. People are gonna say, hey, maybe I should step back away, and maybe I should not support this company along the line. Mostly if look at Niji Sanji itself, it's only like full stain of black mark, and people is already not supporting it. But again, it does not mean that it's no people supporting it. Maybe some people like it, they support it, by all means go ahead. But again, for Niji Sanji, the situation for Niji Sanji is that the company is already huge already by the time it got hit. But this kind of company, they tend to be small, and sometimes when you are small, when you're growing, people put a stop to it, you ain't growing anymore. So in a way, I do think that one of the reasons, at least from how I look at it, is that sometimes this sort of incident, the way they handle it, did not sit well with many people, and people stopped supporting it, and that kind of like got a hit on them. And even more so, another quite interesting point of view that I come across while researching on Bond Life EN termination, the dissolution of their division, it actually got a person by the name of Be Killing May, who actually kind of highlight quite a few interesting point. Is that like the end of the day, there will be many agencies that fail because like either they have to pay for, like you have to pay for the thing, which kind of highlight that either you have a lot of money or you don't have a lot of money. And sadly, in this world, money make the things go around. So for a company to sustain, they need a lot of money. So if they can't like see the money flowing in, obviously they'll be like, hey, let's cut off. They have to cut off because they can't be like investing more money into it and not getting back. If they don't see the gain back, obviously they're going to just say, hey, we're going to stop. So maybe in terms of like the money flow to them, they aren't earning enough to pay back the debt or pay back for whatsoever along the line, so maybe they deserve to dissolve it. I can see that point. Another interesting point is that often more than not, you need to make sure that they are growing. When I say they are growing, it's really kind of like proving that small agency with low number run out of money to pay for their few stuff. It's really kind of like do show a lot of things. Again, like back to the point is that indie VTuber or small corporate indie VTuber agency is that you need a lot of numbers. You can't out of nowhere say that I'm gonna hire a lot of people to be the manager or be doing the art, doing this and that, and not paying them. So in a way, when you kind of like hire too many people, and then you have the cash flow going in the wrong direction, obviously you'll be you'll be definitely be like not earning at all. So in a way, even if, especially more so if the talent is not growing as well, the only way to earn more is sadly you have to grow a lot more. And considering that, like I mentioned, they are not growing, and more so that when a controversy hit them, they have to put a stop to the, or maybe like you want to say put a dent in the water flow, obviously it's going to get a lot of people questioning are they going to earn money. So it would be much better for those talents to be an indie VTuber, because in a way, if they can manage everything themselves and not do anything and they still earn the money, maybe it will be better for them. But if they are not growing, they are still being within their bubbles, then obviously it's going to burst one day in not the right way. So at least from how I look at it, this kind of view do seem very, very valid. And at the end of the day, it's really kind of like proof that sometimes when you have a lot of speculation about an incident, it still doesn't deny the part that there is two more VTuber agency dissolved. Actually, more so, it's more like one dissolving and one is having their division dissolved. So at the end of the day, to me, from how I look at it, it really does prove that sometimes there is a lot of factors that help to bring down a company. And whether we all like it or not, money still also help to make things go around. So there's quite a lot of people talking about it. Maybe some of the situation the company could have done better. We can never know. The only way I can definitely say for all these situations is that I can only hope that all the talents is able to move on and become better content creator along the line. If they're able to do so, good for them. But if they are unable to do so, well, I will pray for them. But at the end of the day, it's just technically my speculation, just a random chat. If you have your own view, your own take, your own opinion, whether you agree or disagree, write in the comment section below. We can discuss it further. But if not, if you do like this video, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe for more random chat where I talk about stuff that sometimes makes sense, doesn't make sense, or totally random at a time. But the one thing I hope is not random for you guys is have a nice day or night. Bye.